The Batman was delayed by another year. It was technically supposed to come out in 10 months.
You was thinking this was about your baby, man.
Oh my God, no! Why?
I thought you were doing a play on what I did last week with the Superman trailer.
Oh, what's wrong with you? There's good news about Oliver. Yeah, okay, you know what? Here's some good news about Ollie. He's in the 90th percentile for size, meaning he's a fat kid.
Ah, he's gonna have so much fun. Being
Uh,
a fat kid is the best until you reach teenage years and your friends start to ask you, "Hey, how come we're the only one that wears a shirt when we're in the pool?" That's when it starts to go down. But before that, it's awesome.
well, the thing is, I'm hoping he grows into it because if he's 6'6", if he's fat when he's small, but he becomes 6'6", I think he'll lean out a bit.
Yeah, just gotta, you
That
just
or he'll be a mountain of a man, like when he's six
just
six,
gotta,
like
just,
oof.
just take him out swimming, take him out running, just let
Oh
him know that, that physical activity is important from the get-go.
oh no, he doesn't have a choice. He's playing football or basketball or baseball or swimming or MMA. He's doing something. It's not if, it's what.
Yeah,
He
just
pick.
it's good. A lot of nerds are like, "Oh, it's so like bad." No, it's not. It's not. It's actually good. It's
It's
fun.
good for health.
It- yeah, it's good for health and you make friends, you travel, you do things, it's fun. You learn to lose, it's good.
All he does is win no matter what.
Are you gonna be one of those parents that are like
Oh,
that are like my son lost, but that's not true, so make him win? Like, are you gonna be one of those parents?
no, I'm just gonna buy the refs like a good parent.
That's literally what I said. Anyway, let's
Let's talk
speaking
about
about
the
cheating.
Batman.
Speaking about cheating the justice system, let's.
Well, okay, wait. I wanted you to share because you had a really good point when it was mentioned, when it was brought up,
Oh
that the
yeah, the
Batman was
Batman thing.
delayed back to 2027 instead of 2026. It's its second major delay by a year. Now, the
Mhm.
official story is that Matt Reeves wants to really make the perfect script. But you have a better theory, two theories actually. Please share them with our folks.
So my two theories are as follows. Let me pop up my little phone here. I said number one, they actually really do want Pattinson in the DCU, and Reeves is retooling the film to make the adjustment. Number two, they're filming part two and part three back to back, and he already wrote both films. Now, that wouldn't be, impossible to believe. They did that with The Matrix, and they did that with the Pirates of the Caribbean, and they did that with Lord of the Rings. It's not an impossible feat.
Hmm.
And the first one was such a hit that,
They'd be
it's
willing
not
to.
impossible. Now, a really good point that I saw is that if it does comes out by 2027, Pattinson will now be older than Christian Bale was when he finished Dark Knight Rises.
I mean, the good thing is that Batman is not one of those characters that needs to take off his shirt and show off an 8 pack of abs. Like he just has to look like okay. He just has to look somewhat fit. He doesn't have to like be like, look at these, you can grind meat on these. No.
Do you remember in the first one in the Batman when he's like in the room and he takes off the shirt and he's hammering like the floor?
Yeah.
I went to see that with Jess, and when that scene happened, I covered her eyes. It was It was really funny. No, it's not impossible. Not gonna lie, after seeing the Superman trailer, seeing that Superman and this Batman like back to back, I'm like, those are my world's finest. Like those are
Those could work because they're
that's
legitimately different tones.
yeah, and I understand, Gunn wants to do its own thing, and sadly, this is a thing that like kind of gets lost in the rubble. I wouldn't be shocked if this ends up getting canceled. Like, knock on wood, I don't want it to be canceled, but I wouldn't be shocked. And they're like, you know what, that was a one-off, and that's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked, because Gunn did promise Andy Muschietti that Brave and the Bold movie, which I don't want. I don't. I hated his Flash movie. I don't want him to do a Bat Family movie. I don't. Um, I would prefer Reeves be the only person that touches Batman.
Yeah.
Um, the big loss in all this is the cinematographer for the Batman that had the choice to be like, do you want to do the Batman part two or do you want to do Dune part three? And he said, I'm gonna do Dune part three. So, but maybe this delay will help. Maybe
Maybe
because
I think the movie looks so beautiful. I wouldn't put it past them to actually delay it by a year just so they can keep the same look because that matters. A lot of people love a lot of the shots. A lot of them are used in either memes or individual pictures and whatnot. Like it would make sense.
you know what I would like? I would like if they take a different approach. Like instead of calling it Batman Part Two, maybe call it like the mystery of the Batman or the riddle of the Batman or something like that, you know?
See,
Something to make it more different, more noir, more thriller like. I think
yeah.
it could be cool.
There was a guy, and I highly recommend him if anyone's watching this who doesn't know who he is. It's called Fanboy. Fanboy Productions. He like pre-writes like the Batman Part 2, whatever. He came up with like six pitches for follow-ups to the Batman, right? Like each one was a series. But each one was called like Heart of the Batman with Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze or Flight of the Batman with Man Bat. What was it? Face of the Batman with Clayface. Like very kind of like how Matt Reeves did with the Planet of the Apes, like Rise,
Yeah.
Dawn and all that. Same capacity. So I think that could work.
Yeah.
I really do think because James Gunn is more embracing of different tones. He's like, fuck it, everything's gonna look different. Like I want each film to have its own individual taste and its flavor. And it does, you know. If you look at Creature Commandos, it's very different from Peacemaker, but it's also very different from what I see in Superman.
Yeah.
Like I do think it can work. I think they can blend in together, which would be perfect. I if you're right and they're gonna figure out a way to integrate Robert Pattinson into the DCU, I'd be happy with it. I don't hate that idea. I will hope that they keep his films very much Gotham based and not like world threatening because like at that point you have no excuse to not call Superman.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I mean, I do think like everything points that the sequel will be Mr. Freeze will be the villain.
Hopefully. Well, no,
Um,
Clayface, remember, he's straight up said
or
Clayface.
Clayface. We'll see. I kind of want to see a villain that we haven't seen in a while.
Mhm.
That's why I kind of don't want to see the Joker again. I want to see like, you know,
Well,
not gonna
have we seen Clayface in live action? We haven't. Only Mr. Freeze.
no, but I think it'd be so hard. I think it'd be so hard.
You
And
think so?
I did hear that they want to do a Clayface thing with this other director. What's his name? Horror guy,
But I think that was gonna be a Matt
like a
Reeves.
solo film. We'll
I
see.
think they're gonna tone down the Matt Reeves verse, honestly. I think they're gonna tone it down and add it to the DCU. Like they're not gonna kill it because, for example, like The Penguin was such a successful show. It has multiple nominations. It was highly reviewed. It was loved. I mean, damn, like The Penguin was so good. I don't see them canceling it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe because it's the end of the year and like so much shit has happened that like I saw that announcement and I was just like, what the hell? Sure. What the fuck does it even matter anymore? And then I went to see Sonic and I was like, I believe in hope and the good in the world again. Like you know, it's been very insane last 48 hours. Uh,
Fair, man, fair. Uh,
yeah,
which, by the way, so real quick, so before we jump into the movie or anything like that,
yeah.
I do want to say I think next week, if you're down, and I need to know now because I need the time to be able to do this, are you down to do a full review of all three Sonic films? Because I have not seen any of them ever.
I kind of have nothing to say about one and two. I think one is kind of meh. I think two is great.
Hmm.
And I thought three was fantastic. Um, I never do this. I never do this.
Hmm.
I would tell you that if you're gonna see three,
Hmm.
you don't need to watch the first two. You can just like watch like a summary thing. Uh, what? I
Sacrilege.
know, I know, and yet somehow I don't know. It's just the first one I think is too derivative of things that are not good. And the second one does integrate a lot of things from the game, and I think the third one is just pure unadulterated joy. But yeah, sure, I'd be down to do like a review of like maybe we could do like one episode of like the of like one and two, and then like one episode to just talk about three.
Or we could
Um,
like briefly cover parts one and two and just be like, this was good, this was bad, but we see how like it elevates like as the series goes on.
okay, yeah, that sounds
I
good.
guess
We could do
a
like one and two
retrospective
as like
might
a
be a better call.
sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that. Yeah. All right.
So
Yeah,
Chema,
three does have like a lot of like call outs to the game, which I understood because I'm a dumb fanboy, but I don't know how much it's gonna hit for you.
dude, I've never played a Sonic game in my life. I was not a Nintendo kid. I was
Okay.
very much a PlayStation boy. So
All right. I'll send you one song that you need to listen to, and that's it. That's all you're gonna need to know.
deal. Reeves was
All
cast.
right.
So wait, okay, one quick question. Is it true that there's a lot of John Wick in Shadow?
Not really.
No? Okay, fine.
No, I mean he has a gun, but like that the gun is canon.
The go
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
Fair. Okay,
I don't
fine.
know. Like Keanu really like fits Shadow. Like I thought he wasn't going to, but I think he did a good job. But and he also let himself be kind of goofy. Like Shadow is a goofy character. Like he's an edgy character, but he's funny and like but he can also be serious. Like there's a scene where like one of Eggman's henchmen is like, "Hey Shadow, like come here. I made some guac." And Shadow is like, "Revenge guac." It's like
Oh,
it's funny.
yeah.
He's just
That's
like
so
revenge
stupid.
guac. Like
That's so
it's
stupid.
funny.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
in.
but it's funny. Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, just trust me on it. It's super fun. And you know that thing that I had told you that people had said like, "Oh, it's like Dragon Ball Z live action." I see now why they said that.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna find out. Let's go.
All right. But
Before that,
meanwhile, before that, you ready to dance with Lady Liberty?
let's go.
Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema.
And I'm juror number two.
Reviewing juror number two, and this is the rollback. Justice is blind. Guilt sees everything. While serving as a juror in a high-profile murder trial, family man Justin Camp finds himself struggling with a serious moral dilemma, one he could use to sway the jury verdict and potentially convict or free the accused killer. So juror number two, aka Two Juror Two Furious, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Nicholas Hoult, Tony Collette, Chris Messina, Zoe Dutch, J.K. Simmons, Kiefer Sutherland, and other colorful characters, found itself into our HBO Max accounts a few days ago, a couple weeks ago, and there was a lot of controversy about this because the movie was supposed to have a big wide release and instead was changed to a limited release and then dropped into a Max account, which I think was a detriment. I think this was a movie that we should have all seen in theaters. I think this was a movie that would have helped to have bring a lot of people back into the theaters. Clint Eastwood is a character that can bring a very specific demographic back into the theaters, which they haven't done so in a while.
Mhm.
So I think it's sadly a loss there, and also a big thing for me because I am not a fan of Eastwood. I'm not a fan of his director. I'm not a fan of his movies. I mean, I like Million Dollar Baby. You know who doesn't? But most of his movies, you know, The Unforgiven, Sully, Gran Torino, I'm not a big fan of them. I hated American Sniper. I despise the Mule. Um,
You
you know,
despise
he
the
has
what?
the Mule.
Oh, is that the one where he puts himself in the shoes of someone who actually has to do bad things?
Yeah. Yeah, not a big fan of any of those movies. And then I sit down because I've heard a lot of really good things about Juror number two, and I'll be damned, that old motherfucker finally got to me. This, my man, this was a picture. This was a vision. This is a back to basics, 12 Angry Manish, just straight up drama. All internal, all moral, all just internal conversation. And I absolutely adored it. What did you think about Juror number two? What was your initial thoughts?
Uh, the trailer alone got me because I love these moral quandaries. I love the movies that you can watch and say, "Gee, what would I do in this situation?"
Yeah.
I'll recommend real quick. Carry On is one of those that's pretty good. It's not a straight up Die Hard ripoff, despite what people will say. But this is another one of those movies that's like, what would you do in this situation? And I texted Chema, and I will not repeat what I texted, but I gave him my honest thoughts on this. I'm going to use the term dumbass and the things that he does.
Yeah.
Um, but that will not dilute the film how I feel. I was dialed in. I was interested. I loved how when they filmed certain scenes, because this movie is a great courtroom drama, but an actual great courtroom drama because the whole film is not simply the case itself, but you see the deliberation and different people's inputs as to why they feel a certain way throughout the case, throughout the film. Um, at one point, when they're giving testimony on what happens the night of the murder, real quick, going into what happened, we have what's his name, Sith, right?
Scythe, James Michael Scythe.
James Nickel Scythe. Okay, so Scythe and his girlfriend get into a fight at the bar. He grabs her arm, she pushes him, so they have a very volatile relationship. Everyone says that. They walk outside, they get into an argument, but when you see it being played out, it's played three different times from three different perspectives, and every time it is filmed just slightly different enough. Where she grabs him, but he doesn't grab her. Where he's yelling and he's more aggressive, and then where they're both kind of like up and down. Like it's that's the perfect way to film stuff like this. The filmmaking was solid. The story was great. All the what ifs worked for me. I think I think the whole movie works. And I'll say this: Justin Kemp is a character that you can root for. He's someone that you can understand. You know, it's to me, it's very hard to write truly neutral characters that like you can understand where some other people are coming from. This was one of those cases. You can understand where each character is legitimately coming from.
Mhm.
I don't know how spoiler you want to get. Should we like talk for a bit and then start talking spoilers after a warning?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I adore this setup. I adore this setup. Like this is lightning in a bottle kind of setup. Like this is one of those things that like you wake up in a daze think like after thinking of this setup. I think it's just wonderful. I didn't see a trailer. I didn't even see. I knew it was about a juror, uh, and who knew something about the case, but I didn't know what. So I went into this completely blind, and as you're starting to figure out exactly what happened along with like this is a movie that I highly recommend going in absolute if you're hearing this and you haven't seen it, take don't listen. Just go and see it and then come back because the reveal of everything is absolutely wonderful. And Nicholas Hoult carries this amazingly. The whole time I was thinking like, man, this sounds like something that would show up and like it feels like something that would happen, you know?
Yeah.
Like I had a period where I listened to a lot of true crime podcasts, and I was thinking like this feels like a case that I would get covered in like a true crime thing. Like it's a story so wild that it could be true. And I think as of this we can talk spoilers because it is extremely important that we keep that that reveal is a little too good for this.
Yeah.
So let's go with spoilers. And so the setup is this woman was killed this night and after having the argument with the boyfriend
Hmm.
and Nicholas Holt his character was there at the bar as well and he leaves around the same time as they leave and as he's going back home he passes by a bridge and he hits something and it's raining and it's dark and he can barely see he gets distracted for a second by his wife texting him and he goes outside. He tries to see if he hits something, and then he sees a sign that says like deer crossing. He assumes it's a deer and goes home. And then he gets summoned completely by random to the trial of this woman that died in that same exact spot. They found her body right under the bridge. And he starts to connect the dots, and he starts to think maybe I didn't hit a deer.
Hmm.
And the whole time it's eating him alive because he's finding this out as we are finding it out. And we have the two lawyers, the one running against the idea and the one running for. They're Chris Messina and Tony Collette, two great actors.
Hmm.
Chris Messina, remember the Air Jordan movie? He was the lawyer who loved to curse. He was great in that.
Hmm.
And Tony Collette. Tony Collette, I think she's a great actress. I can't see her in anything because after seeing Hereditary, I'm freaked the fuck out by her. And there's a scene in this movie that freaked me out almost as much as Hereditary did. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So we have the two lawyers, and also she plays like a Southern lawyer, and I love Southern lawyers. Look, stereotypes be damned. I hear a Southern lawyer, I get chills down my spine. Okay, I think freaking love Southern lawyers. So she puts on this accent, and I think at some point there was a conversation like, "Hey, I'm doing like a Southern accent for this lawyer character. Shouldn't everyone be doing this?" And Clint was probably like, "I don't give a shit. I'm 94. Like, do whatever you want." And because no one else is doing the accent, it's just her. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It's funny. Um, but I like how this movie kept revealing stuff to us, like and stuff that is incriminating, that will find its way back to the truth. I like how Nicholas Hoult was not supposed to be at the bar because he's a recovering alcoholic. And I like that he has his whole thing of like, no, well, I did go, but like I didn't drink. And it's like, well, no one's gonna believe you. But yeah, but what do you know? And then when it's revealed, why did he go to the bar? He was depressed because his wife was gonna have twins and they lost them, and he was sad, and he almost tipped over back into that alcoholism. It is so human.
Yeah.
Like every reason, he's such a well-forged character that like no one would have shamed him for like falling a little bit, but like, oh, like I was strong enough to like pull myself back. But because of that, he ended up in a situation where he didn't want to be.
It-
And
it's the
it's tough.
yeah. It's the
Yeah.
perfect circumstances of a fall of a decent man. Like
Yeah.
like perfectly said.
And I love that like the truth always comes out. Like everything just circled back eventually to like to him in a way, in a way. Because everything was there. And then we have J.K. Simmons who plays another juror,
Mhm.
who's a former cop. And you put J.K. Simmons in a jury, he's not gonna be a random juror, he's gonna be
A pain
someone
in the
important.
ass. He's
You
gonna
don't
be
get
in
J.K.
jail for
Simmons for nothing. Yeah.
yeah.
So he gets there, and he's so commanding, he's so ever present, and he loves like playing these kind of characters. So I like that he was there. He was all the jurors in a weird way. They're all played by very character actors. So they all have personalities. They all have families. They all have reasons to be there. They all have reasons to not like the guy. They all have reasons to give the guy a chance. You know and he
Yeah.
just kept coming back. And that's where the play comes of like, because like after the first session, all the jurors are like, he's obviously guilty, right? And
Yeah.
Holt could very easily be like, well, what if a good man, you know, just had a bad day,
Like a dumbass.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry. I
that's where the ploy of like, what do you do in this scenario?
you vote guilty. Yo, you know why? You know why? Fuck it. No, I'm gonna say this. You vote guilty because there's two guilts that you're gonna have to deal with. Either the guilt of one, putting an innocent man who's not necessarily a good person in jail,
But he can improve. He was getting better. He did
or
the whole testimony.
or or the guilt of knowing that you can't raise your son and or daughter for at least like what, 20 years, which is gonna make me feel worse. Random dude who I don't know, who I'm probably doing a favor, he's gonna get 3 square meals a day. That's not bad. Roof over his head permanently. Versus not raising my child. One of these things is worse than the other. One of these things is clearly worse than the other.
But do you want to raise a child in a world where someone could take advantage of the law against them one day?
Yes. Because you know what? I'm gonna raise them to not be the victim. That sounds really bad when I say it out loud. But you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That sounded really bad. But you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I feel like this was a no-brainer for him. It was like, dude, vote guilty. Like you no. Also, and maybe I'm reaching, and tell me I'm reaching if I when I say this, because I trust you enough that you'll call my bullshit. There's no evidence to prove that Temp did, or sorry, not Temp, Kemp. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There's no justifiable evidence to prove that Justin Kemp did, in fact, kill her. He hit something. It could have been a deer. It could have been her. There's no definitive evidence to prove one or the other. Additionally, there's no definitive evidence to prove that Synth Scythe, what were the, oh, sorry, Synth
Scythe.
Michael Scythe, thank you, Michael Scythe, did not kill her. He's going to argue he didn't, but again, would anyone admit to committing a murder? No. There is, if you're not 100% certain, why are you risking throwing your life away? You're not 100%. Why are you getting out measuring tape?
Because you're I'm mounting the I'm trying to count the amount of length that you're reaching here. It's it's uh,
Fuck you.
it's quite a lot, brother.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yeah, that's the plot of the movie. That's the plot of the movie. Where like the whole time he's thinking like, can I get away with this? Or are they gonna catch me? Because then they have the whole like, well, your car was also like getting
Damage
fixed
in
during
the
this
area.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was damaged in the area, and you had an accident. Where was the accident? And on what day? Because they can track what day, and they can ask, where were you? What were you doing? That's why the lawyer played by Toni Collette, she goes out to go and check on every person that had this issue, and why J.K. Simmons like finds all these orders of like, oh, these are all the cars that were fixed, and he even gives him an out. He tells him like, oh, I saw that your car, like a car with your exact same model, is in the list. I mean, we can cut you out because you're obviously not it, right?
No,
And
I think
hold
that
the
was a
whole time,
trap. That was a
and
trap.
hold the whole time, I was like.
No, that was a
Yeah.
trap. Simmons was already suspecting him. He was like, "Your car is on here. Why?" Like that's a little too fucking convenient. And you're trying to protect this guy?
It's just it's
I call bullshit on that one. I will call bullshit.
maybe. And there is I don't know, there's like a lot here. And I like that the whole time, like he even gets like the all the jurors to be like on his side, in a way, like, you know what, let's
Let's ask
think
questions.
about this. Yeah, let's ask questions. And if you've seen 12 Angry Men, which is, very much a movie that you can see was an inspiration for this. There's a lot of that in here. All of those conversations of them trying to figure out, what if it was this, what if it was that, and then they have to cut off J.K. Simmons at one point because they're like, "You're investigating, you can't do that. Like you have to just stick here." So they cut him out, and they have to bring someone
Weirdest
else.
judge I've ever seen, by the way, also.
What?
That was the weirdest judge I've ever seen, by the way.
What do you mean?
Most judges will like hear, "Oh, you have a very pregnant wife at home, you're out." Like most judges are not so like you're perfect because you don't want to be here. Most judges are not like that. I'm just saying. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Oh, Francesca Eastwood was the one that died. Interesting.
Oh, really? That was her?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Nice to know nepotism is still alive and well.
I am not gonna make comments about Francesca Eastwood.
Why?
I'll tell you after the show.
Jesus.
Yeah, so yeah, I like the constant like fight and struggle, and I like the constant reveals, and I like how little by little they start to doubt Holt. Like there's a moment where they go almost to like a field trip expedition to like the bar and then the bridge to like go and see everything so that they can have like a better feel of everything. They get that approved. And they have a and there's this one guy. There's one juror who's like, you stinky.
You
Something is wrong
suck.
with you.
Yeah.
Brother, this guy stinks.
Marcus King.
Uh, yeah. And, and they have like a moment where like he gets called out and Holt just like straight up throws up. Like it almost feels like he's gonna like fall from the bridge and everything.
Yeah.
It reaches like a big conversation, and then to the point where like Holt kind of goes back home and is like, I think I should sell the truck. I think it's better if I don't have it.
You know, that would have been a smart call, like as soon as all that shit went down.
Yeah,
I'm just
maybe.
saying, you wait a week to report the body damage. You do that first. Maybe you fuck up your garage a little bit, like, oh, I accidentally hit my garage in the rain or whatever. You repair the damage and then you get rid of that fucking car immediately. I'm just saying,
See,
if I was him, I would have gotten away with it. God.
but that's the thing. He does not think that he did anything bad. He doesn't realize until he's in that juror seat that like, oh, maybe it was me. Like
You know
he
what?
does like. he doesn't think that he's guilty of anything besides hitting a deer, you know? And that's why this is such good drama. And it's not only what the juror, it's when he has to explain to his wife, like, hey, I remember when I hit a deer, it was somewhere else. And the wife is like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, Willis? Like, what's
That's
happening? Yeah, and there's like a whole like conversation they have to have, like, why were you there? And then it's when it's revealed, like, oh, it's because of this, because of that. He has a history, he is like improving on this. It's a very human story, and it's a very human way to portray an honest error where, like, I don't want to say that there's no innocence, but it's like it's just one of these failed things that happen in this human experience that we're living in. And it felt so real. Like, this could have ended, and it could have told me they could have said, like, based on real life events. I would have believed it.
yeah.
And I can't believe that someone just like spook just spun it out of their heads. Like, it's so great. And I will say this. I love the actress who plays the wife as Zoe Dutch.
Mhm.
Love this actress. She's been in nothing but good stuff, and she is always giving really good performances. I think she's kind of underused in this because she's zany. She can be like a cartoon character almost. Like, why would you put her in such a serious role
Yeah.
where she has to be just like the stay-at-home wife who's pregnant with his kid? I'm not saying, get someone else, but I'm saying, use her to like her full capabilities. Because she's a little too good for this character. Um,
Actually, I think she was perfect. She played, yeah, maybe I'm too close to this movie. She played a perfect role of a concerned wife. They suffered an immense loss when they lost their twins. He says himself it's a high risk pregnancy the second time around. They're anxious about it. And her stress level only shoots up when she finds out that her husband may have been involved in a murder, may have
yeah,
been by accident. God damn, I wish he would have. See, that's part of it. Also, now that I think about it, because he went a different way, and that's what she says. He would have had no reason to lie to her. So he didn't commit the murder then. Like, there's reasonable doubt there, because he told her
yeah,
he went through Bass Road, something like that. But the
yeah,
murder was committed on this other road, on 214 or something like that. He had
yeah,
no reason to lie to her, so he didn't do it. Why would he even consider that? Or why would he lie to her if he didn't think that, oh, maybe I did hit someone? In which case, if you think you hit someone, you hide the fucking evidence and you destroy it.
yeah.
I
But
don't
he didn't think that he hit someone. He just saw like deer crossing. And he went like, I must have hit a deer.
know.
It's
But
it's it's.
why did she think it was a different road then?
Here's a question: why aren't there more headlights? Why aren't there more like lights like on the road? Like what? Why isn't the government doing anything about that?
This is a
That's
small town.
that's. I don't care. Like
It's
that's
a beautiful
ex.
town though.
Yeah. Where was this? Where was this at?
I have no fucking clue, but it's a beautiful town.
They mentioned it. They mentioned it. Where does
Can we mention
it's
one of the unsung oh, Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia? Yes.
Can we mention one of the unsung heroes of this film who's only in it for I think 3 scenes, but like I wish I'd been in it more. If they make a
Kiefer
sequel
Sutherland.
called Defendant Number One,
Kiefer
I
Sutherland.
huh?
Kiefer Sutherland.
Fuck yeah, I loved him in this.
He was really good in this. Like, I don't know how long. I have very like limited amount of knowledge of how law works.
Mhm.
But when he confesses to him, is he like okay to not do anything?
Yes, because he's for one, lawyers only are legally required to report you if you tell them that you are going to commit a crime. If I say I am going to murder John down the street like today at 5, legally he has to report me. But if I confess, hey, 5 years ago, John was really pissing me off, so I put two in the back of his head. He can't report me. That violates attorney-client privilege, and he can lose his license. So he
But
can't
what
report
if
me if he wanted to.
because he doesn't tell him as a lawyer. He tells him like a drinking buddy, you know?
No, no, remember, there's a great scene that I love that's so minute in the details and I love it. When he comes to say, I need to talk to you, he says, as a friend or as a lawyer? He says, as a lawyer. He says, give me $1. And I'm serious about giving me that dollar that gives us eternal kind privilege, which
Oh,
is
that's right. That's right.
which is true. Like $1 is enough. I give $1. Funny side story. I gave $1 to Robert recently. Nikki's brother, like when he went off to
Yeah.
law school. And I said,
Yeah.
this is my down payment if I ever need you to be my attorney and protects me against attorney-client privilege. I'm serious. I wrote down the dollar and I put good luck in law school and I put it in his wallet.
That's really good.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's really freaking good. Yeah.
but no, he's so great. I don't want to say he steals the movie, but I really wish we had had more of him in this. Um, but Nicholas Hoult, Justin Kemp, he is the epitome of a decent man trying to do the right thing. Because also, like, you gotta admit, when your back's against the wall, like, I've got a family in front of me, and I don't know for sure that I killed this person. Maybe I did, but I don't know for sure. And I don't know, man. It's not an easy call to make.
Yeah.
How many
And
how many people
yeah,
would even wrestle with the guilt,
Russell.
you know?
Yeah, it's difficult, and it is ever present. And I like that when they have a moment where they're like, he makes a call, he makes a decision. He's like, okay, we're all voting guilty. I cannot flip, these people, and he doesn't go to that last hearing because his kid is being born, and but he does go to the session where they're going to decide the punishment, which he doesn't get 20 years, he gets life,
Dumbass.
and
He should not have gone. He should not have
he
gone.
he goes and they have probably like the most like one of the most serious scenes in the movie where he's sitting outside looking at the statue of of Lady Liberty, and Toni Collette's character sits to him next to him, and they have a conversation, and she's kind of piecing everything together throughout the movie, like maybe this guy did it, and they have like a what if situation where they're like, maybe, he was a good guy, just put up in a bad situation. And she kind of turns to him and she gives him the most, oh, fuck you eyes. Like, oh, but shut the fuck up. Like, you little bitch. Like, she gives him this look, this, as I'm gonna cook you with like I'm gonna cook you and serve you to my whole family. Like just like looking at this guy with so much disdain and so much hatred. I felt like I was sitting in front of her in that table scene from Hereditary. I thought she was gonna kill me.
Where she's
Like
like, "You're the one that killed the sister." No,
yeah, like
half team.
I don't want to be on that other end of that. And he kept like, well, I'm gonna go back to my perfect wife and my perfect kid now. And she just keeps looking at him, and I went like, oh God, like
I
no,
think
no.
I think honestly, I like that scene because they do stack each other up. Because she's ambitious, and he essentially tells her, "You could blow it up if you want, but it's gonna cost you your career, and you know it.
Yeah,
But you can
it's
go ahead." Like it's the biggest game of chicken since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Go ahead, blow it up. But there's no guarantee that he'll go to jail because they're gonna say, "Didn't you already convict someone of this murder? So how do you know it's me now?" Like, why are you so indecisive? There's a decent defense there. There's a defense of he told his wife where he was going, and she
yeah,
backed him, and the attorney would even have to argue, well, when I first interviewed the wife, she said he went down this road. So you're just trying to say he went down this other road because he has some body damage? Where's your evidence from that?
yeah.
Like there is a fight there to be had if they want to do defendant number one. I'm just saying. But
Yeah, and there's a whole situation here because also like the lawyer goes to like the houses and she goes to this house. She doesn't know that that's his wife.
yeah.
And that's where and this is the only moment in the movie that I think fails for me. This is
Mhm.
the only part of the movie where I think it's not pitch perfect.
Yeah.
The lawyer goes to Google and just Googles Alison Crossan husband. and
Yeah,
just
okay,
finds
I'll give you
picture.
that. I'll give you that.
And I saw that and I went like, okay, Grandpa, let's get you back to bed. Like, okay, like
You're
like
gonna
that's not how
Google,
this works,
gonna
you
Google
know?
it and you're gonna see his face. I don't think that's how Google works. I made Dirty Harry. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, like that's the
I
Francesca. Yeah, Francesca. This is the moment where we take your grandpa and just go like, okay, okay, okay. That's grandpa. Let's get you to bed. That's that's the only moment where I went like, Jesus Christ, like, you're
It would have been
old.
cooler if
Like,
she had been at work and she had gone on like Instagram or Facebook and looked her up and been like,
this is why I don't like phones in movie. Phones are so not cinematic and they kind of ruin everything. So I hate. Because I get detached by the whole idea of like that's not how it works, Grandpa. Like, okay, fine, I guess. It's fiction, it's heightened reality. I shouldn't complain, but it's like she could have just gone through like a file, like, hey, I visited this house. Who owns it? Whose name is under it? And just go through there, like what? Oh, Jesus, fine. Uh, and then we have like a moment where like he kind of they follow, they talk. And then we jump like some months ahead, and
I
the
think you said
couple
like
is
what, three
there.
months or 4 months?
Yeah, around 3 months, and kid is born. Everything is fine. Everything is perfect. And then there's a knock on the door. Camp opens it. The lawyer is there. She makes the connection that like this is the house that I visited. You're her husband. And then they kind of look at each other, and then the movie ends.
I'm dead ass convinced though, because wait, let's get context to this. I want to
Dead
give,
ass, you are 31.
huh?
Why are you saying dead ass?
Wait, did I say dead ass? What did I say?
You did say dead ass.
I did not mean to, wait, I said, give me a sec. Wait, what the fuck? What was I trying to say? I wanted to say, wait, stop for a moment. Let me give context so I can give like
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah, yeah.
What
Yeah,
did I
yeah.
say? Dead ass. Wait, give me a minute. My mouth misspoke. How old am I? I'm 31. Am I having? No, I'm fine. Anyway, so real quick, I want to stop this for a moment. So that conversation about, yeah, you can turn me in, but one, you're gonna blow up your career. Two, you already convicted someone. Like what? You're gonna say, oh, it wasn't this guy, it was this guy. So you're gonna overturn that conviction, blow up your career, try to prove it was me when I have reasonable doubt. All this stuff is gonna end up happening. Um, they have this conversation, and seemingly it's that same day she goes back to his house to talk to him. And I am 100% convinced that she was going to tell him, I'm not going to come after you, but I'm going to be watching you. Because she did not come with any cops. She did not come with any backup. She did not come with an officer to arrest him. She did not come with any detectives to investigate and ask him questions. I am 100% certain she was coming to tell him, I'm going to watch you. And if you fuck up one more time, I'm coming after you with everything. I think she was going there to tell him, fine, you win this one. I am 100% convinced.
Why would she come back 3 months later though?
No, no, no. No, because
Because I think the opposite. I think she's coming back with a case. I think she's coming back with like, hey, 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 I know.
well, no, the
Like,
conversation was had after. Because remember, it goes, they vote guilty, and then like what, three
yeah.
months later is when they do the sentencing. But the same day that they do the sentencing is when they had that conversation, and then there was not another time jump. It
Oh,
was,
right, yeah.
so that I'm convinced that because it was the same day, she's coming to tell him, fine, I'm not gonna come after you, but I'm gonna watch you.
Yeah. And
Like, if
that's
you fuck
and
up
that's
one
the
more
other thing that I think also kind of fails the movie. I think it needs to commit to that ending. I
time.
think it needed to have like that last conversation.
Mhm.
Um, I think that might rub some people the wrong way. I think that might give people like you know what, this was good until the ending.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's gonna work for everyone, but the whole process of getting there, Jesus, I think this is downright one of the best films of the year.
But see, I think that ending works to cause the discussion because you and me are debating on a podcast right now. Was
Yeah, we're gonna
it
have different ideas of like what happens next.
exactly? But even throughout the case, like for example, I am protesting that this guy is innocent. Like vehemently throughout this whole podcast, you're taking more of a neutral stance. But also look at where we stand. I'm looking at it from the perspective of a father, soon to be father, gonna go to jail. Like it was an honest mistake, and you don't even know for 100% certainty that you did cause this. Are you
Yeah.
really willing to throw away your kid's future on a chance that something might have happened. Versus maybe I'm full of shit and I'm being selfish and no, this guy did do it. That's perfectly fair to say, hey, you have rose-tinted glasses on. But again, I'm coming from a different perspective from someone else. Also, we haven't mentioned Cedric's character, Marcus King, is straight up said, I will vote guilty. You will never change my mind, which is the exact
Yeah.
opposite of what a juror is supposed to do. Like, if anything, that should be mentioned to the judge. If we're gonna throw out J.K. Simmons because he investigated the thing, hey, this guy came in with a predetermined notion that this guy's innocent, that this guy's guilty no matter what. That in itself is probable cause to throw him out. There are holes in this
Yeah, because you know how you're not supposed to have like personal ties
to
to
the case.
the case, and he mentioned specifically like I don't like this guy because he was part of this gang that like hurt my family, hurt like my peeps, like
Yeah, so he will be guilty no
there.
matter what.
But he said that in the jury room. He doesn't say it like to the
But
judge or anything.
they should report him. Like that is part of the deal. Is you have if something like that is worth being reported. For example, if Justin Kemp says, like in the jury room, I actually went to high school with him. He was a pretty good dude. Trust me, he didn't kill him. No, that is reasonable cause to throw him out.
But wouldn't they check that?
No, well, they asked, but all they can do is trust that when they say I have no problem giving neutral testimony, that they have to take them at their word. But if new information is found after the fact, there you go.
Have you ever been summoned for jury duty?
Unfortunately,
Did you go?
yeah.
How was it? Wait, can you
Uh,
talk about it or no?
yeah, I can talk about it. I was stuck between two really, really heavy individuals with like tiny chairs. So I was like this. It sucked. I got paid 16 whole dollars, and after about 3 hours, they were like, "Oh, they settled, so y'all can go home." I was like, "You motherfuckers!"
Did you get to like call it off work or something?
Yeah, I got the day off at least.
All right, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a win. Uh,
Yeah. Did you get food?
my dad actually got had to be on a jury for 3 days once. It was a hit and run. But it was an old lady, and it was like, well, was she driving the car? Because she's too old to be driving. She's in her 80s. But they're like, well, she just have this ticket from a few months ago.
Did she have a license? Did she have a valid license?
I don't think she had a license. She had a ticket for driving without a license, but who's gonna arrest an 80-year-old grandma?
I don't care. I say
Aren't
that
you
is an acceptable.
anti-cop?
I am anti-cop, but you don't know how much I don't love old people. You know,
Oh,
it's
I need to like cut this part together and
anyway, what are your final thoughts on juror number two?
really good movie. I really liked it. It works for me, even the ending. I think it's a great discussion film. There are movies that you watch to be entertained. This is one of those great films that you watch to argue and debate after the fact. And I that is nothing more than a compliment. Nicholas Hoult is great in this movie. I can't wait to see him as Lex Luthor. What about you, Chema? What were your thoughts? What are your final, input on this great movie?
I think I echo your sentiments. I think it's a fantastic discussion piece, and it's like I mentioned, it's not. We always talk about this. It's not an end of the world movie, but it is a very creatively written, very original piece. Something that could very easily be like, oh, this was a real story. Like, I think it's a very human story, and it tells a lot about our limitations as people, and also like how much does your weight, does your soul weigh? How much does morality affect you? And I think it's a genuinely incredible piece of filmmaking just because of how barren and how bare bones in a good way it is. It's so basic, but it's so well structured. Eastwood knows how to make movies. He's been doing movies for like a long, long, long ass time, and you learn that you learn a little bit by more just about practice than by you know
Mhm.
leaving your comfort zone. I think it's definitely a movie that should be in the discussion during award season, and I hope it doesn't get lost in the rubble of all the streaming movies. I'm gonna give Juror number two a 5 out of 5. I think this is a fantastic movie, and it's as close to perfect as we can get in a movie like this. So yeah, what are you gonna score it?
I would give it an 8.5 out of 10, almost a 9. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
I think the only things that hold it back, I can't think of what would have like made it better, honestly. Maybe more Keith Sutherland, but that's about it.
Or Kiefer Sutherland, maybe a little bit less of that phone scene, but
Because like okay, like normally when I try to score a movie, I try to think what could it have done better. I don't know what more this film could have done to be better, honestly.
yeah,
Um, it's a solid film. It is a great discussion piece. It is a movie that defies logic because also it's a very much a mid-budget film. A very good mid-budget film, but it costs 35 mil to make. Um, I genuinely think that if it had come out earlier, it could have been considered for like Golden Globes awards nominations. I think it came out a little too late, but I could definitely see Nicholas Hoult being nominated maybe for an Oscar. At the very least, I think this deserves an Oscar nod for Best Original Screenplay because
oh,
even though
definitely.
it does borrow a lot from 12 Angry Men, solid fucking movie. Solid movie. I would definitely watch this again with people.
Yeah. I think people forget also like just like Nicholas Hoult is English. Like he's also doing like an accent for this. So it's like
I didn't
pretty
notice.
seamless. Yeah, it's pretty seamless. He's great in this, and I think everyone is also great in this. But yeah, highly recommend everyone check out Juror number two. It's on your Max account. Watch it with your family. Watch it with your dad. I feel like this is a top tier dad movie. I almost felt like I should have been watching this in TBS with commercials and everything. Like
Well, as a future father, I can definitely say this is a dad movie.
this is the dad movie of the year, so everyone go watch it with your dads. But yeah, that will be everything for this episode of the rollback. I know you need to run now because I know you got stuff to do. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Happy holidays, happy New Year to everyone. If you don't get to catch us later, I think our next review is definitely going to be the Sonic retrospective. So we're gonna get on that. But meanwhile, thank you so much for watching us during the entire year. And yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think also if we can maybe do like a mini episodes when we do the Sonic one. I want to do a year-end review just to talk about like all the stats we did, the records we broke, our growth and everything. If you're up for that.
Sounds great. Yeah, let's do that.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, yep. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chema.
I've been Eddie.
And this was the rollback. Signing off with a reminder to use your long lights. You have them in your car.
Also,
Drive safely, drive slowly, and
also,
it's
no, go
and
ahead.
don't look at your phone while you're driving. Jesus Christ.
Also, maybe don't walk on a road when it's raining sideways outside. Like maybe don't do that.
We don't victim blame on this bitch, like
No, there's a
it's
sidewalk. All right. Look, if you're on a goddamn bike and
it's a bridge. It's
get on
not
the
a
fucking
sidewalk.
sidewalk.
It was a bridge. It doesn't have a sidewalk.
Turn around and go back to where you were then. In the
Bye,
fucking
ever.
sideways pouring rain. Come on. That's Darwinism. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.